Arrest her. That was the bombshell Al Green dropped live during a congressional hearing, pointing directly at Secretary Kristi Noem. The reason? She may have violated the very principles of justice that she swears to uphold. We're talking about an explosive case involving the death of Alex Pretti, accusations without evidence, and hypocrisy that could cost dearly. Stick with me because this goes beyond politics. It's about who truly believes in equal justice for all. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like on the video.
Back, and I recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me now? Is it?
The microphone right there.
Well, will you give me a moment to get a bit closer, please? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I say it sincerely. I believe this is a most valuable hearing, and I'm honored that the ranking member would be here with us to accommodate us, as is the case with you. Mr. Lyons, is it true that you have a criminal justice degree, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is it also true that you have a master's degree in criminal justice leadership?
Yes, I do.
And would you, as a professional with 2 degrees in criminal justice, indicate to us that if an officer commits murder, that officer should be prosecuted?
Sir, any law enforcement misconduct needs to be investigated and prosecuted.
Investigated and prosecuted. And have you seen the widely published video of the killing of Mr. Alex Pretti?
Yes, sir.
And sir, my assumption is that if I ask you whether this was an injustice, you would say you cannot comment because of an ongoing investigation. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And what is the rationale for not responding to an ongoing investigation?
Sir, I don't want to impede or prejudice the investigation.
No, not this one. Oh. Any, as in your profession now, but any investigation. What's the rationale? Not this one, any.
Same for any investigation, sir. I don't want to.
You would not want.
I don't want to bias or put my finger on the scale of any investigation.
You not. What's the rationale for your not testifying about it? Is my question.
I don't understand your question, sir.
What does the law say? What is the rationale? What harm would it do if you testified?
Because I don't want to have the full facts of the case yet, sir.
Exactly. That's what I expected you to say. You don't have the full facts. Thank you. And I assume you would agree with this, Mr. Scott. Is this true?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Edlow, you would agree?
I assume so. I'm not a professional in law enforcement.
Well, but you're a professional person with a degree of intellect such that you can comment on whether or not.
Well, I certainly would not comment on anything.
Not a specific case. We're talking about now any case. Would you agree that it would cause harm for you to testify before there's an investigation?
Certainly without having all the facts.
All right. Surely you would agree. Which brings us to Secretary Noem. Secretary Noem accused Mr. Pretti of brandishing a firearm while wishing to inflict harm on the officers. Secretary Noem. Same rules that apply to you apply to Secretary Noem. Accused this gentleman, Mr. Pretti, of brandishing a firearm. Secretary Noem doing this when she did without an investigation. We have to agree that there's not been an investigation. I don't think I have to ask you that. Not a complete investigation that we know of anyway. She did it right afterwards. Having done this, she is violating this very basic principle that you have called to our attention today. And we have to ask ourselves, why would she go so far as to say brandishing when he did not? The video will clearly show it. And she said wishing to inflict harm. Did not inflict any harm. But the secretary, without an investigation, made these comments. I'll tell you why. The secretary was in a rush to cover up, to make sure that she was protecting the officers without regard for the life that was lost. And in doing this, she was violating not only this basic moral concept, she was breaking the law. The secretary should be investigated right along with those officers who were out there engaged in this ungodly conduct. She should be investigated. And in my opinion, based upon my observation, secretary should not only be investigated, the secretary should be prosecuted right along with those officers. This man did not brandish. This man was not armed. This man did not attempt to hurt those officers. They should all be prosecuted. And you persons associated with the Trump
Gentleman's time
administration say
has
lock her
expired.
up. I say lock her up.
Gentleman's time has expired. I now
Now, let me be very direct with you. This here is exactly the type of hypocrisy that erodes American democracy. Kristi Noem, who presents herself as a defender of law and order, was caught doing exactly what she would condemn in any other context. She accused a dead man who can no longer defend himself of carrying a weapon and having violent intentions without any proven evidence. And worse, she did this while holding an office that should represent institutional integrity. Let's be clear, when conservatives shout law and order, they almost always mean law and order for you, not for us. It's a pattern that repeats itself incessantly. They demand rigorous processes when they're the ones accused, but when it's an ordinary citizen, especially if they're black, poor, or marginalized, then any narrative that justifies state violence will do. Alex Pretti was unarmed. This isn't opinion, it's what the video shows. And Noem decided to create an alternative story to protect whom? The officers involved? The department's reputation? She wasn't defending justice. She was doing political damage control on the back of a dead man. Al Green did what every representative of the people should do. He used the hearing to expose this dirty game. And when he said, lock her up, it wasn't demagoguery. It was applying the same standard they love to use against protesters, activists, and ordinary people who challenge the status quo. Here's the point they don't want you to understand. When authorities publicly lie about cases of police violence, they're not just distorting an individual case. They're legitimizing a system where truth matters less than the official narrative. This affects you. It affects your city. It affects whether your family can trust that police officers will be held accountable when they're wrong. The question I leave for you in the comments is this: if a cabinet secretary can publicly accuse a dead person without evidence and get away with it, what hope does the ordinary citizen have for justice when the state makes a mistake? This isn't about left versus right. It's about truth versus power. And as long as people like Noem don't face consequences for undermining investigations and defaming victims, justice will continue to be just a beautiful concept on paper.